Hilchas Sanhedrin v'Einshin HaMesurim Lahem Perek Arba v'Esrim. Yesh l'dayin lodin b'dinim omnes al pi advarim shedaiten noiter lahem shehin emes. Whereas even though b'negei din nefashis and al deres of dinim malchus, we learned that it has to be Adam, it has to be Adam that saw Beifim Borer. There was Adam, there was Asra, in order to paskin din nefashis and al deres of dinim malchus. But b'negei dinim omnes, the Rambam says that the dayin could be done by dinim omnes based on things that daiten noiter lahem shehin emes, V'adover chazak belibe shu kain. Afal pi she'ein sham raya brura. Even though there's no raya brura, but the fact that he holds that this is what really happened, that could be a factor in his decision in making a din dinim omnes. Ve'ein tzarech leimim hu ha'yideh bevadei sh'adover kain shu don kifi ma sheyada. So a person could be done based on what he assumes and nemzon bepshitus, that this is the truth, as we'll soon see. And certainly if something he knows for a fact that it's the truth, even though there's no Adam telling him this, but since he knows it for a fact, so he can be done dinim omnes based on his knowledge. Ketzat. Hareishin is chayiv adam shvua bebezin. A person was chayiv shvua bebezin. And now, let's say a person was a made of a mixas, or there's a idachad against him. V'omer l'dayin adam namon etzlei, v'shadaiti simeches al dvara. Someone comes and tells the dayin, sezeho ish choshudu ala shvua. There's no Adam that he's a chashud, but someone that's an ish namon to the dayan tells the dayan that this person is a chashud. Now the din is, if this person is actually a chashud, so then the shvua is connected in the shvavinetel. The din is when someone's, let's say, chayiv a shvua deraisa, and then there's lepel, he's a chashud, so the din is connected in the shvavinetel. Now over here, we don't have Adam that he's a chashud. It's just that someone told the dayan, and the dayan relies on this person, on this eidachad, that this person is a chashud. So then the din is yesh l'dayin lapich hashvu al shekenegde v'yishba v'yitel. So the dayan could go ahead and say, based on this knowledge that he has, which is not really knowledge from two Adam, that this person is a chashud, so he could go ahead and say that the shekenegde should be a yishba v'yitel. Why? Because hoyel v'somcha daite shel dayin al divri zeh, the dayan is relying on the words of this person. He feels that this person is an honest person, and he's saying that this person is a chashud. So therefore, in the dayan's eyes, he's a chashud, and therefore he can't swear and shekeneged in this b'v'neitel. And afila hoyse isha yevid nemonim etzlei, the dayan relied on a isha or an eved, or beheil u'matza adavar chazak v'nochen b'libei, the same b'chol v'don. If the dayan, even though he doesn't have Adam, but he himself knows that this person is a chashud, so the dayan can go ahead and say that this person shouldn't swear. He's not going to let him swear, but rather he's the shekenegde is going to be a nishba v'neitel. That would be an example where a dayan is passing a din based on what he assumes to be true, because based on the fact that someone told it to him, and he believes that that person that told it to him is a very honest person, and therefore he assumes to be true, and as a result of that, he's going to change over. Be'etzem ikra the dinner, the person, the nitba, has a right to swear, and nevertheless, based on his understanding and or his knowledge, he's going to go ahead and change the din, shekeneged the nishba v'neitel, even though there's no Adam. V'chein, another situation. There's a star chev, someone's presenting a star chev, and bepashas, when there's a star chev, the person that the star chev is against has to swear, has to pay rather. There's a person is taking out a star and saying that the leiva owes him money. V'amalei adam shesei mecholav, someone that he relies on, someone that the dayan relies on, told him afilu isha hikarev, says zeparu, even though there's a star chev, in pashas it looks like he owes him the money. And on a star chev, normally you don't have an amonis to say paraiti, but this person is saying, I know for a fact that it's parua. Is imsamcha daite al dvarav, if the dayan believes what this person is telling him, is yesh leilema lezeh, he could tell the leiva, le tifra ele b'shvua. Don't swear unless that person swears. So normally be'emes, the leiva could taina, he shall, normally really the din is b'chlal, when a person brings a star, so he could always say, he shavali. A person could always taina his shavali. When a person brings a star and the star is a star mekuyim, but nevertheless he could say he shavali v'tul. So over here, instead of him tiny, he didn't tiny shavali v'tul, because he doesn't even know that din. So lepel, the dayan, could go for on his behalf and tell the tiveya, which has the star, and this other person is tiny, that is parua, he shavali v'tul. That's one option. Oi, another option that the dayan could do is imhoyel of star chev lacher. So if there was another star chev, and be'etzim l'chura, that both coming and l'chura maybe he's a shtar mugdam, and memela he has a right to mon. His shtar is a kodem rather, and memela he has more of a right to mon. Nevertheless, he can time it to this person that owes the money or that allegedly owes the money. Yitn l'zeh shalei nivgam shtar klal. In other words, there's two stars. One star, there's someone saying about it that it's not a good star, and the dayan really believes it. And then there's another star, which is a pashtus, a good star. So the dayan could make a decision to say, you loiva pay the star which is 100% a good star, and don't pay right now that star which there's a error that the star is not a good star. And he should be yanich knows, since there's another star to pay, saying he's not telling him don't pay it at all. He's saying right now you have money, pay this person. Even though l'chura, this person's standing, let's say the both of them, it's not clear if they both came together or one came before the other. Let's assume both of them came together, and me'ikra the din, he would have to pay both of them, or half and half. But Lepel, he says, no, pay this one and not the other one, because Lepel, this one, there's a chshad by me, that this one is not a good star. I got what I mean, there's a chshad by you, there's no edus that it's not a good star, but since there's someone that told it to him, and that person he relies on, so that's enough to be able to change this din, to change this din in the sense that he's going to pay this one and not this one. That's one option. Or a third option, I'm saying three options. Oy yashlech hashtar befanov v'liyodin beklal kivim hashir. You can say, listen, I'm not going to go mon from this loiva with this star, because by me there's a strong suspicion that this star is not a good star. So you have takash star. I'm not going to tear up the star. The issue whether you tear up the star, the Raiva talks about it. The Ram doesn't say you tear up the star. You give the star back to the person that's presenting the star. But on the other hand, you're telling the loiva, you don't have to pay right now. I'm not going to go mon by you the money from this star, because Lepel, in my mind, there's a very strong reason to suspect that this star was already Parua. This star was already Parua, and therefore I'm not going to mon from you this star. There's Pasha, the Lev is tiny Parua. The Lev is tiny Parua. But Lepel, normally the Lev is not believed. But now, since he has someone that's telling this Parua, so the Rambam is giving one seer that the Rambam said was that you could be mahapid the star, mahapid the shvah shekeneg the nishba v'neitel. There's, even though there's a shvur, normally lepel, the person should swear, but since there's someone saying that person that's supposed to swear is a choshud, so the tivei shekeneg the nishba v'neitel. Another situation is you have a star, and someone saying that the star is a parua, so therefore he kataina leitifra ele b'shvur. That's one option. Or he could say, don't pay this star, pay another star. Or say, B'chlal, I'm not moneying this star. I'm not moneying this star. I'm not moneying this star. V'chein, that's one situation where the dayan is doing something which normally l'chura me'ikr the dinei has to have edim. Normally they have to me'ikr the dinei has to have edim. But over here, even without edim, because he heard it from someone and he believes that this is true, so therefore he does something based on what he believes is true. V'chein, mi sheba v'toan sheyesh li pikodin eitz u'pleini shemes b'lei tzavo. And v'nosin simon b'v'hokim. Someone comes along and says that this person died, and I gave this person a pikodin, and this person is now presenting, the person that's timing is presenting simon b'v'hokim. And lepel v'lei hoye zeh hatoyin rogel likonis l'bayis zeh shemes. It wasn't regular for this person to go into this person's house. If it would be regular for him to go into the house, so the fact that he's giving this simonim is meaningless, because simonim is not a raya. The pale, he has simon, no simonim, because he was to go into the house. Masha'inka, the person that's tying the pikadon is his, wasn't in this house. And also, now the question is, but is it possible it's really the other person's? Is it miyoda hadayin? Now this is where the dayan uses his own knowledge, without knowing it 100%. Miyoda hadayin. The dayan knows that this person is not really someone that would normally have this type of an item. It's too an expensive type of an item that this person should have, the person that died. And the som chadaitim by him is ogelegt. That this is not really the chayfetz shalmes. So mitziin min hayorshin, you'll be moitzim the yorshim. If this person that would make sense for him to have such an item, there's a person that's a rich person, comes along and says this person that's not so rich died, and he left him a pikadon of a very expensive item, and Lepel, he gives him the simon of that pikadon. So normally we say Tanin al Yasmin. There's the person, the Yisayim have now this item. This item is B'Rshus HaYisayim. This person is tining it's his, so it's tining El Yasmi. But on the other end, the Dayan is saying, but Lepeil, this person that died is not omud to have such a type of item. And Mamela, that's something which is like not a clear-cut thing. Could be he found the item. There's different options that could have happened. And if he would have been here, he would have been Naman. He would have been Naman. But on the other end, the svar of the dayan is that it's not really the messes option item, and this person is giving simonim, and this person it makes sense for him to have such an item. So then that's another situation where a person is using his own what he's convinced of, and based on that he's passing gedin, even though there's no clear edom. V'chein kol kiyetz b'zeh. She'ein hadavar mosur elo liber shel dayan sheyodin kifi ma sheyirah shel dinamis. So this is a din mechudish that a dayan could be done based on what he holds its emes. Even though it's something lechura, there's no raya brura that this is what happened, but nevertheless he could go ahead and based on the fact that he really holds, he believes that this is true, so therefore he could go be mahapech hashvu on kenegdei, or he could say that the malva has to be on nishba v'netel, or that bechlal the leva shouldn't pay the malva, should pay a different malva, or that the leva bechlal doesn't have to, he's not money from this leva the money, or al derav say he's letting someone tiny that this pikodin is his pikodin based on the fact that he believes that this person wasn't an omud. Now, B'emes there's machlekes rishenim. Some rishenim say that even based on the fact that Adam tell him that this person wasn't an omud to have it. So the question is, was it regular for this person that the nifkad, which the person that died, is it normal for him to have this pikodin? So the Rambam says that here where the dayan holds in his heart, it makes sense that this person wasn't an omud to have this type of a pikodin. In other Rishonim hold, even if he doesn't know in his heart, but there's Adam saying that he wasn't an omud, that's also good. That's based on that. That's the din that a dayan could, based on the fact that what he holds, even though there's no raya brura, and this is only by dinim ominous. It's not by dinim nefashis, and it's not by dinim malchus. It's a din only by dinim ominous. Then the Rambam says, "In kein lama etzricha teira shnei edim." So if the din is that a dayan can be done based on what he holds, so what's the din of shnei edim? That's the Rambam is asking a kasha. So that the Rambam answers, "Shebizman sheyavel lefnei adayon shnei edim is yodin al pi yidusam avol b'sheini yidem be'emes hiyidrei b'shekar." In other words, by shnei edim, he doesn't have to believe that the edim is saying true. If he believes that the edim are not saying the truth, so that we're going to see later, that in a case where he has a din teira, and even though there's edim, but he feels that it's a din maruma, so also he could hold himself back from paskening this din. But on the other hand, he doesn't have to feel that the din is true. Edim are coming, and the din is al pishnayim edim yokum dover. So even if he doesn't have any feeling that what they're saying is true, not that he has a feeling that it's not true, so he paskens al pi yidusam. But over here we're saying when he has a feeling that it's true, so then he could go ahead and pasken even without edim. That's what the Rambam is saying. I mean, l'chura, you have to understand, the Rambam is asking a kasha in Cain, lo mitzricha teira shnei edim. Like a kilu, based on the fact that the Rambam just said, it's based on what the dayan feels, so l'chura, why do we need two edim? So that the Rambam answers, because when the edim say it, you don't need that the dayan should feel, even if the dayan doesn't have any feeling about it, but since two edim said it, so you pasken api eidusam. L'chura, I mean, didn't that the Rambam said, the Rambam didn't say you'll be moitzi momen based on a person's feeling. The Rambam is saying in specific cases, you'll be ma'apar d'shvo shekenegdei, or you're not going to be tivei ashtar. But if a person comes along and says, this item is something that this person stole money, took from him, or he owes him money, and therefore based on that, you should take out money from someone. You should be moitzi momen from someone based on Haggadah Seidos. So that's l'chura only by Eidos. That doesn't work in the case of what the Rambam is saying. The case that the Rambam is saying that the Bezdin could be seimach on their feeling, so to speak, on their feeling of what's true, not a feeling. Feeling is were given information, and they believe the person that gave them the information, and therefore they're pasking based on that information. But they're not going to go be moitzi mom. It's not like someone comes along and says this person lent someone money, and he didn't pay, and one person is saying that you're going to be moitzi mom based on that. You're just going to maybe be mahapech hashvur. You're going to tell the malva can't mun the money. So l'chur, you have to understand what's the kasha of the Rambam. In kein lo metzricha teir shnei edim. You need shnei edim to be meitzi mama. Halacha beis. Kol elu advarim hein ikradin. Everything what the Rambam said until now in Halacha Aleph was that's Ikar Adin. Aval Mishirabu Bati Dinim She'enam Agunim. Nafilu Yi Agunim, even though Bati Dinim there are Hagunim, is B'Maseyim, Einam Chacham Karoy, Bali Bina. You need that there should be Sai Agunim, and Sai people that understand. There should be Bali Chachma Karoy, Bali Bina. So then is Kimu Reiv Bati Dini Yisrael, Shali Yahab Chushvu Ele B'Raya Brura. The first thing that the Rambam said, that when someone tells someone, a dayan, that this person is a choshut, and he believes that person, and based on that he's going to mahapech hashvua, so the Rambam says that his kimurei batidinim shalei yahap hashvua, ele b'raya brura, and it was the raya brura that this person is a choshut, and also v'yifgu mushtar v'yafsidu cheskosei be'edus isha apostle, that you shouldn't go ahead. A person has a star, and that star has a schus to be made simamen, because there's an edus of an isha or apostle that's saying that she knows for a fact, or he knows for a fact, that this star is purua, so based on that you're making a certain gam on the star, and therefore you're not running with the star. Shalei yivgemu star v'yafsidu cheskosi be'edus isha apostle v'chein b'shar kol adinim le'yodin hadayon b'smichas daitei v'lei b'idiosi, not based on what he knows and not what he thinks, that he believes what someone else told him. Kedei shalayemer kol hedyed v'hedyed libi maimen l'divrei zeh v'daiti semechas al zeh. So there's different people which aren't really roy that their das, or even if their das is soymech, that doesn't mean that there's something to be soymech on. So memela, since there are people that are first of all inam agunim, and then there are people that are not chacham and nevoinim. So memela, so when a person is a person that's not a hagun and not a chacham, is going to start saying that he holds this way, so that could cause a lot of things that are not shleya pedin la'avis ladin. So therefore, the Batidin were masking that dayanim shouldn't have a right to do that. V'chein, the case where we're saying that a person is coming along and says he has simonim and he's tying that this bikotin is his. V'chein emitziyin min hayisemim ele b'raya brura. Only if there's a raya brura that this bikotin really belongs to that person. Lei b'das hadayim v'lei b'umdin hames yatein. Not based on the umdin hames, or that this mess is not a person that would make sense that he should have such a bikotin, and this toyin does make sense he should have a bikotin. And there's all these svaras, based on the svaras saying that mistama what this person is taining, since he doesn't have a raya brura, so he can't be meitzim b'yisayim. V'afal became, for nevertheless, even though lepel b't ageret, that they made up that lepel they're not going to be soymach on their das, on what some chadaita, and even what they know. Im heid odem nemer b'dover mikol hadvarim. If lepel someone that's neman was made about these things, said that this person is a chashud, that this person or it's parua, things that lepel, as a result of that, the dayan suspects that there is a problem, and v'notza das hadayan she'em esuemer. So mamtnu b'din, he's mamtnu b'din. In other words, he doesn't rush into passing the din and not disregard what he was notified from someone that he believes he's saying the truth. He's not doicha the edus of this person. In other words, he deliberates with the balidinim itself. He goes through the case and back and forth in order to be able to reach the bottom of it and to be able to reach the truth. Or they'll make some type of a compromise. Or he has another option of yistalik minadin. In other words, he's not going to paskin based on the fact that someone, an eidachot, came and told him something, and based on that he's going to say that the other person could be a nishba v'netel. But on the other end, he's going to go through it again in order to see whether or not this person really is a chashud, or al derezeh, if this star is really a star which wasn't paid, and ask questions, various type of questions, and deliberate, hopefully coming somewhat to the truth. And if he sees that he can't come to the truth, and on the other end he believes that that this person that told him something is the truth, so he could be masalik himself from the din. He say, listen, that I don't want to paskin this din. He knows, even though if that person wouldn't have told him this, he would have paskin one way. He would have paskin whatever the din is. He would have said that you have to pay the money from the star, or he would have said that this person should swear. Masha'enkin, since he doesn't really feel that that's the truth, so therefore he could be masalik himself from the din. That's this din. In other words, if a person, he can't change the din based on this person saying, but on the other end he could try to force the situation to reach the truth of it, and if he can't, he feels he can't reach it, so he can be masalik himself from the din. Halacha gimel, l'menayin l'dayin sheyedeh b'din shu meruma. When a dayin knows that this din is the din meruma, shaliyem achatchenu let me paskin the dinner knows. In my mind and my heart, I realize that something's wrong here. There's Adam here, which seems to be right Adam, and they're saying this and this, and according to the basic law, letter of the law, it comes out that this should be the din. But my heart tells me that this is not true, that either the Adam are lying, or the Adam don't really understand the case, that the person is just nodding up the other person. Even though according to the pashtus of the letter of the law, the chura could paskin the din based on what I see. He knows that this din is a din meruba. I'll paskin the din the way it seems to be presented. So the Edom, the responsibility beyond the Edom. Talmud Leiman midvar sheker tirchak. So midvar sheker tirchak means a dayan should stay away far from sheker, even though he's doing something which seems to be the right thing, because that's the Edom are coming, and etc., etc. But in his heart, he knows that he feels that it's not a true din. He should start going cross-examining the Edom in a very, very strong way, like they do by Din Nefashos, where they ask him the Be'ez Yom, Be'ez Chedesh, and Be'ez Shabbos. There's all kinds of questions which we normally don't ask by Din Nefashos. Is Yidreish v'Yacher Harbe B'Drisha v'Chakira Shel Din Nefashos. Im Nirelei Lefi Daiti. If after it goes through the whole Drisha v'Chakira Nirelei She'em B'Ramoyis. Now he's convinced that Eber Ramois is Cheich Techadin Al Piedus. Then he goes ahead and is Cheich Techadin Al Piedus. Avalim Hoya Libi Nekfei. Sheyesh B'Din Ramois. In his heart, there was still a suspicion that there is Ramois. Eish Ein Daiti Simechas Al Divrei Edom. He somehow or another, he doesn't feel that what the Edom are saying is true. Aval Bish Ein Yochel Lepeislam. He doesn't know, he doesn't have a psul on the Edom. He can't say that the Edom are puzzle, but he doesn't really trust the Edom. Either he doesn't trust the Edom, Oy shenoite daite shebaldin ze rame ubal arma, that he's a conniver. Nemele v'hisi so Edom avol b'shen ksherim ulefitumim hitam. Either he suspects that the Edom are not saying the truth. He's looking at the Edom, he's listening to the Edom. He doesn't have any clear, concrete raya that these Edom are psulim. But on the other end, his feeling is that these Edom aren't true Edom. That's number one. Or there could be another situation where he doesn't say that the Edom are not kosher Edom, or liars, but he feels that this person that brought the Edom is such a conniver that the Edom are convinced that what they're saying is the truth. Or he feels that there's another part of the story which he's not really knowing. In some way or another, the Edom aren't really being megala everything. In other words, they're saying some part of the story and not all of the story. In other words, he's listening to the Torah according to what he hears. There's Edom, the Raksherim, and saying the story, and based on what he said, the din should be like this. But either he suspects that the Edom are not Edom Ksherim. He looks at the Edom, and his heart tells him that the Edom aren't Edom Ksherim. That's one possibility. Another possibility, the Edom are Edom Ksherim, but on the other hand, somehow or another, they were convinced by this Toyin, which brought them, and he's such a conniver that the Edom were convinced that this is what they saw. That could be a second possibility. A third possibility is that there's another factor, there's another angle in the story which is not being revealed and the Dayan doesn't know about, which could be changing the whole face of this Din Torah. Is kol elu advarim ukiyetzibem and bo l'dayin bedin. If the Dayan has this Din Torah and lepel, he suspects that the Edom are not kosher, he suspects that the Edom maybe don't really understand what's happening here, or he suspects there's some other angle here which he's not aware of, is osur le'lachtech eisei adin. He's not let him really go ahead and paskin this din based on what he knows, because he suspects that there's more to what's happening here than what he knows. Someone that feels comfortable paskin this din, he should paskin. The mishpat is connected to Elikim, and knows the Eibishter knows whether or not the reason why he's misalik himself because he had a suspicion that it's not a true din, or other reasons. The Eibishter knows what's going on in his heart, but if he in his heart knows that in his heart he doesn't really believe that the din, the way it's based on what's being presented here, will be the right din, because there's either something wrong with the Edom, something wrong with the Tainus, something other factors, so therefore he has a right to be misalik himself from the din. Not only has a right, but he has an obligation to be misalik himself from the din. So that's the Kudas Adin is that the Rambam said Meikra the dinner. the Bezdin could paskin b'dinim moment as things which are not really based on edus, based on the fact that the dayan holds this way or the dayan knows this way. That was only, but lepel the batidinim, since now they're dietis, so therefore hadietis and lavdafka agunim, so therefore they agreed not to do that, even though meikr the dinner they're allowed to do that. But on the other end, if a dayan feels that he doesn't really know, and it's not really that what's happening here is not really necessarily true, so he should try to see to it to come to the truth. And he doesn't feel that he could come to the truth, he should be masalik atzmei min adin. Halacha dalet. Yesh lebezin lahalkes mi she'eini mechuyev malkes, or velarig mi she'eini mechuyev misa. In other words, in the situation, we'll soon see that there's a pirza, and they feel that it needs to, in order to stop this pirza, they have to give someone malchus, even though there's no din malchus over here, or alderazet to give someone misa, even when there's no din misa, they have that right to go ahead and lahalkes mi she'eini mechuyev malkes, lareg mi she'eini mechuyev misa, lay laver al devar Torah, not because they have a right to go things against the Torah, or to institute a new rule that this and this type of person should get malchus or misa. Elalas is siyog l'Torah. No, something temporarily, a temporary act that they could do right now in order lasi siyog l'Torah. V'kiven shereim bezin shepartzu am bedavar, that there's a certain avera which they were partzu, is yesh lam ligder ulechazik hadavar. They could go ahead and make a gather and to strengthen this thing. Kifi mashir lam hakel hirosho leishi kava aloch l'der. So, for example, if they see that there's a certain avera that people are doing, which is not chiyuv malchus, but they feel that it's parrots, and then they go ahead and they institute that someone that does this avera at this point in time, right now, they're going to give malchus, or if something that someone does, they're going to get misa, and that's causing, in order to prevent other people from being paid in the avera, that's within the rights of Sanhedrin. That's in the right of a Bezdin. The Bezdin has a right to go ahead and institute rules, which those rules are very severe rules, to give malchus to people, or even to kill someone, in order to make sure that the people aren't paras b'avera. Maisa v'hilku adam shebal ishti tachas eilan, which there's no isser of being beil ishti tachas eilan, but it's a yin of pritzus. And memela, for that, they went ahead and gave him malchus. Umaisa be'echad sherochav al asus b'shabes b'mei yevonim, and v'yivium lebezdin v'saklu, which is certainly not a chi of skill, it's only isser d'rabbanan, the whole isser of riding on a horse, but lepel, since it was something, was a pirza, he was riding, doing an isser d'rabbanan b'rabban, b'faresia, so mainly they went ahead and saklu. Umaisa v'tola shimon meshotach shmeinim noshim b'yem echad b'ashkelon. He went ahead and he hung 80 women, they were mechashves, and that there was a time where people were nofetz b'kishuv, in order to prevent people from doing kishuv. So he went ahead and he hung 80 women in one day in Ashkelon. Normally, when you go ahead and kill someone, you have to have drisha v'chakira, it was a hirah shah k'vi mashirah. So again, this is an illustration of a situation where Bezdin went ahead and killed someone, or killed 80 people, in order to make their milsa, to make sure that people shouldn't be nafutz in this avera. So that's this din, that a person, Bezdin has a right to go ahead and lahalkes, and even to kill, in order to be migdar milsa, but not that this becomes a rule, and not chas v'shalom they're going against the Torah, but rather that that's part of the Torah. The Torah gives them the right to go ahead and do things in order to migdar milsa. V'chein yesh lebezdin b'chol mokim b'chol zman lahalkes la'odam shishmuos ira v'hom meran acharav shu'ever al harois. We have a person that there's a rinun against him, that he's a person that's over al harois, so Bezdin has a right to go ahead and vice is more than a right. There should be lahalkis l'adam, someone that shmos ira, that's what they should be doing. V'hu sheyeh kel she'eni pesach mishabiyanu. There's a musik of a kel she'eni pesach. We had it in Hilchos Seita. But again, that's just a kel that's going on for a day and a half, and there's no one arguing with that kel. So that's considered a kel which we accept. A kel she'eni pesach, and also v'liyol le'evim yiduyim. Shemitzin olav shmorah. He shouldn't be a person that has enemies that we know about, that's possibly they're the source of this shmorah. So that's this din. This din is that Bezdin, yesh lebezdin. It's another thing that Bezdin does, which is not according to the basic rules. The basic rules, a person was over on one of those 207 lavim, and with Edom and Asros, he gets malchus. there's certain Mrs. Bezin, the rules, which things are Mrs. Bezin. Masha'inkin over here, we're talking about something that this person is there's no Edim, there's no Asra. The Am, Miran Acharov, who Aver ala Arois. So based on that, the Bezin should give him Malchus. And Vahu Shia Kel Sheni Pesach, Misha B'Yarno, and also that doesn't have Eivim. V'chein, Mevazin Ezeh Shishmo Siro, besides the fact that they're Malkin, I say, they also embarrass him, and they embarrass him and his family, the people that gave birth to him. No, this is all the Migdar Milsa, that people should realize the severity of this Avera, and therefore prevent other people from also being Nimshach to do this Avera. So this is going to get Malkin and Misa. Then the Ram continues, Halacha Vav, V'chein, Yesh L'dayin Tomid, L'hafkir Momen Sheyesh L'bailam, someone that owns money, so the Bezdin has a right, the Dayan has a right to go ahead and be mafkir this moment, Ma'abit Schusen, and cause them to lose their schus in this moment, Kefi Mashayira, Ligder Pirtzis Hadas, Ulechazik Habedek, Eliknis Alamza, either to give a knas to someone that's acting in a strong manner, in a manner that he's not listening to Bezdin, he's not listening to Torah. So Bezdin has a right to go ahead and be mafkir his money, and to that he should lose his rights to certain monies that he should have rights to. This is all in order ligder pirtzes agdas ulechazik habedek. But so over there it says yochrim kol rechushi. So from that's the lashon mikan shehefke bezin hefke. From here we see that bezin has a right to be mafkir someone's money, has a right to be mafkir someone's money. So the Rambam is saying yesh l'dayin tomit. The Rambam is saying this is not a din yesh l'dayin tomit lahafkir momen sheyesh l'bayim. Now it's brought down lachreinim that this din that hefker bezin hefker is only that they could take away mammon from someone, but they can't go ahead and transfer money from one person to another person. In other words, they could go ahead and say that the money that this person owns is no longer his, and therefore someone else goes ahead and makes a Maisa Kinyan on it, so he can make a Maisa Kinyan on it. But for them to say that the money that belongs to Reuven should belong to Shimon, that's not within the rules of Hefker Bezin Hefker. V'chein, yesh l'dayin, l'nades, u'lahachrim, mi she'eni ben nidui, so it's another thing that the Bezdin could employ, and that's making a nidui. A nidui is a type of chayrim. There's a nidui and a chayrim. A chayrim is more severe than a nidui. There's different dinim. Someone that's a nidui, someone that's in chayrim. V'chein yesh l'dayim l'nades or l'hachrim, to put nidui, to put in chayrim. Mi she'eni ben nidui kedei ligder peretz. Again, to be good if there's a pirza in kfi ma sheyira le'shashot tzrich l'kach. V'yoymer, and she also say. When the Shliach Bezin comes along and puts him in the V'yemer, shenidu echrimu al daite al das of the dayan, v'yifarsim eisechet barab, and not only he should be mefarsim that he's being menadim, but he should say why he's being menadim. In other words, the Bezin goes ahead and sends the Shliach Bezin to announce that this person is being put in nidu, put in chayrim, and why is he put in the al das of the dayanim, or which dayan, or the dayanim that are putting him into nidu or chayrim. And also to say why he's being put in Nidin Chayrim. Shenamar Oyru Meiroiz, Omer Malach Hashem, Oyru, Or Yeshver, and Kilei as is Hashem. So we see over there, that's the story by Dveira, by Shiras Dveira. So over there it says that they said Oyru Meiroiz, they cursed the people of Meiroiz. Pashtus, when there's 2 days, what Meiroiz is, if it's Hashem Mokim or Hashem Koichav. So Pashtus, the Ram is going according to the side that Meiroiz is Hashem Mokim. It's the name of a certain place, and Or Yeshvem is the inhabitants of that place. So they were cursing the Meiroiz and the inhabitants of Meiroiz, and the reason was, and they said why they were cursing them, because Kilibo Lishuas Hashem, Le'ezes Hashem, the fight over there with Barak and Sisra. Halacha Ches. V'chein yesh l'dayin. So these are the various different dinim that a dayan could do, which is not like the basics in halachas and chish mishpat. There's the basic halachas chish mishpat where Edom come and you may see mom and basic halachas. Then there's dinim where a dayan could do something based on what he understands. And now we're saying dinim that a dayan could do something, give malchus, and even the bezin could go ahead and kill and can be mafker someone's money and put someone in nidui and chayrim, even though it doesn't go according to the basic rules. But since it's a matziv, where it's a mokum, it's a parutz, like a matziv, and it's needed in order to Migdal Milsa, so the Bezdin and the Dayan has a right to go ahead and do these things, to Malkus and Misa, and to mafkim someone's money, and to put someone in Nidu and Cherem. Halacha Ches, V'chein yesh l'dayin lasis meriva im aroi loharivime, someone to fight, to argue, to make a controversy with someone that's roi loharivime, or lekalele, or lehakese, v'litlish sari, to pull out his ear, or lehashbiyeh belikim al korche, and to force him to swear belikim, sheliyasa, either that he will never do this act, or he didn't do this act, if they're arguing whether he did it or not. Shnema v'orevime, this Nehemiah says, v'orevime, I argued with them, v'akalaleim, v'akim anoshim, v'emreteim, which means he pulled out their hairs, v'ashbiyim belikim, he forced them to swear belikim. Halacha tes v'chein, yeshlei lekativ yadayim raglayim, he could tie up his hands and feet, v'leser beis asurim, and to lock them up in a beis asurim, in a prison, v'litchef, and to push them, v'lischev al haaretz, and to pull them on the ground, shenemer hein lomus, they could go ahead and lomus to die, and hein l'shrushi, which is to uproot them, and others also it's to hurt them, and hein lan ishnichsim, to take away their nechasim, to be managed in nechasim, ula asurim, and also to lock them up. So this is all included in what's the rights of a dayan. Because the Mishnah says that the word l'shrushi, the Rambam teaches, means to pull them on the ground. That's the teich l'shrushi, to pull them on the ground. Halacha yud. Kol elu advorim kifi mashiyir hadayin shezer roy lekach v'shashot tzich lekach. That this person is appropriate for this person is roy, that this punishment should be administered to him, and that this is necessary for the matzav. Because the matzav necessitates such an act, and also this person's way he acted also justifies acting this way from him. Ubakel yiyo ma'asav l'shem shamayim. Everything, when the dayan does something, he's doing things which there's no clear-cut rules to. In other words, we're talking about when a person has to do clear-cut rules, so it's clear what he has to do. He has to look into Shulchan Aruch and see clearly what he has to do. But over here we're talking about things which there's no clear-cut rules. In other words, when you do it, when you don't do it, and how much you do it, and who you do it to. Is bakel yio ma'asav l'shem shamayim. Everything that he does should be ma'asav l'shem shamayim. Vayihi kved abrias kal beinov. It shouldn't be kved. In other words, he's being mizalzel b'ked abrias. So if he's doing it l'shem shamayim, that's one thing. But al yihi kved abrias kal beinov sharihu deichalesa shel dereim. Kaved abrias is something which is deichalesa shel dereim. The kolshken kved, that's bechlal kved abrias, even kved abrias. The kolshken kved b'nei Avram Yisrael v'Yankiv hamachzikim b'das emes. She is zor sheliyaris kvedam. He has to be careful not to destroy their kaved. The only time he could be mizalzel in the kved abrias is only if that's being moisef in kved amokim. Shekola mevazes hatera gufei b'chol al abrias. So that's, since these people are being mevazes hatera, so therefore it makes sense that gufei b'chol al abrias. Mechabed is hatera gufei b'chol al abrias. By being mechabed tera, that causes that gufei should be b'chol al abrias. And what's pshat mechabed as hatera? Ve'en kved hatera elalasis al pi chukei mishpateh. So someone that conducts himself based on the chukim and mishpatei hatera, so that's a person that's mechabed as hatera, and then taka will be gufei mechubed al abrias. But if a person acts in a way that's not al pi hatera, he's mevazes hatera, which means he's not acting in an eifin of kavod hatera, he's mevazes hatera, so then it's gufei mechul al abrias. So the fact that these dayanim are being mevazed them, so they'll be mevazed people that already caused that they should be gufei mechul al abrias. But Al Kopan, the Nukud is that the dayan, when he does what he does, should be done with Shem Shemayim in order to be Machabed as Hatera.